What's up, Earth Rockers? It's your boy Shovatar, back again with more Rondo of Blood goodness. And this time we're talking about the second playable character in Rondo of Blood, second of the only two playable characters, Maria. Maria is a really fascinating character. She's really fun to play. Um, Although, I mean, she is essentially overpowered. Um, And in a game like Rondo of Blood, where Richter is already pretty strong, he doesn't have like air control the way Simon does in 4, but he has like item crashes. He can turn around in midair. He can like walk backwards. Richter's already pretty strong. Maria is even stronger. She's kind of sort of like a conceptual merge of Sypha and Grant from Castlevania 3, where, as you can see by the fact that she's spinning around on the ground like Sonic the Hedgehog, she has extra movement capabilities like Grant does. She can double jump, she has full air control, and she can do that. She can do cartwheels, go super fast, and then like Sypha, she has really powerful combat. She can do a million damage. Those little birds that she shoots out like hit and come back, so they'll hit twice, and she can fire two at once. Like two can be out at the same time, so she will absolutely shred anything in front of her. And as you're about to see in a moment here, her sub weapons are not are nothing to sneeze at either. That thing just died in like 3 seconds because her sub weapon, and that's the sub weapon she has instead of the dagger. That's her dagger sub weapon. So and that's how good it is. So Maria is pretty insane. Of course, there is a downside. The downside is that she takes more damage than Richter does, and she also takes more knockback. And there are actually a few specific places in the game where the fact that she takes more knockback is really relevant. But most of the time, it's basically not. Because she's also smaller than Richter, it's easier for her to not hit things. Um, and Instead of sub weapons instead of her sub weapons being actual weaponry, your sub weapons are instead her four animal friends. And I think you're probably only going to see two of her four animal friends in this video. You're going to see the bird that she has now, and then I think I'm going to spend the rest of the run with the dragon, if memory serves. And I'll talk about that when I get the dragon. For now, these birds that she has are just exactly what you saw on that dragon boss, where they're diagonal oriented attacks that do a fucking million damage. If you're curious about what this character is and why this character exists, which I was too, there is sort of an answer. I could simply say don't look a gift horse in the mouth, because the fact that Maria is in this game is like wonderful to me, because she's super fun to play, and her presence in this game at all is kind of surreal and wonderful. But she is like kind of a joke. That becomes more apparent when you see her in the cutscenes. But if you're wondering why she uses like animal companions to fight, from what I've read, her four animal companions have something to do with like Chinese mythology, or like the Chinese like zodiac or something, because she has like a cat, a turtle, a bird, and a dragon, and I think it's some like Chinese thing. I don't know. I mean, because it's not like she's Chinese. She's supposed to be Transylvanian, so I guess like Eastern European or whatever. I mean, she's fucking blonde, but whatever. Apparently that's the concept. And now she has the dragon. As you can see, the dragon is comically large. It's so large that it actually obscures how many hearts you have, which could possibly be a problem, because every dragon usage costs 5 hearts. Now, for a refresher, the Bible, which was the best sub-weapon that Richter could get, it costs 3 hearts per usage. And the reason that the dragon is so expensive, the dragon also has the most expensive item crash. The dragon's item crash is 50 hearts. That's 5-0. Compare that to like Richter's most expensive is the holy water, which I think is 20. So it's over twice. Its item crash is over twice as expensive as the most expensive one of Richter's item crashes, and there's a reason for that too. It doesn't instantly kill everything on the screen like the death spell from Legends does, but it fucking might as well. I mean, it probably would kill anything on the screen that wasn't a boss, but it doesn't like one-shot bosses, which is what you might expect would come from a 50 heart cost, but not quite. Yeah, as you can see, when she got hit there, she got like thrown back. And this werewolf boss actually kind of scares me for a little bit here. This thing's actually fucking me up. And okay, so that's why the dragon costs 5 hearts per usage, because this thing hits like a fucking truck. It's like a fucking drone strike. Um, and it's huge and it's super fast, so you're probably not gonna miss unless you're trying to hit this Shadow the Hedgehog motherfucker rolling around at the speed of sound. Exposing himself to a miner, really inappropriate. I mean, I'm assuming. I thought Maria was like a little girl, but then like when you start playing her, you, I mean, you notice that uh, she's well developed in certain areas. So I think this is like a, I mean, you know how the Japanese are. I think she's probably supposed to be like 14 or something. But I thought she was younger than that initially. Playing as Maria is the thing that like really pushes Rondo Blood over into like this is no longer like a close contest in terms of this being the best Castlevania game in the series, because like Richter is really fun to play just as like a classic like Castlevania game, but Maria gives this game like its own like unique feel where like playing as her is just so fun. Like it's just so fun to jump around. It's so fun to like annihilate things with the dragon. You know, is it easy? Yes, she is basically this game's easy mode once you know enough about the game to avoid enemy patterns that you're not just like getting smashed by everything, because obviously if you're like getting hit by every attack, then it's harder to play as her because she's taking so much more damage. But generally speaking, the fact that she deals so much more damage, the fact that she's so much more evasive, she's so much more mobile, she has so many more options, obvious like sort of it's like a no-brainer that the game is easier if you play as her. Um, which is, you know, yeah, I don't know, I still sort of felt sufficiently challenged, I would say, when I played through as Maria. Uh, obviously it's easier, but what's nice about it is that it's also super fun, because the fact that Maria has so many different um, abilities, because she's so powerful. It's like you're constantly improving it with like your usage of her. You're seeing like new places where you can double jump. You're seeing like places where like you can use her cartwheel. Um, she even has like a hidden super attack, which I actually probably could be using here to like erase this thing, but unfortunately at the time that I collected my first Maria footage, I don't think I knew that the super attack existed, or no, I knew it existed, but I didn't really know how to do it, because it is kind of like a funny fighting game input combo to make her do it. But you will see it in the alternate route video. Uh, so yeah, even though playing as her is pretty easy, it's still very rewarding because she has such high potential. It's like, yes, you'll demolish the game, but like how quickly can you demolish the game? And in fairness, like things can go south with her pretty fast. Like if she gets hit by a boss, she's really gonna take a lot of damage. I think generally speaking, Richter can take like maybe 5 hits, and then Maria can take like 4. So it's the standard additional weakness, additional damage vulnerability in a side character like you'd see in Castlevania 3. Although technically in Castlevania 3, Sypha and Grant take 5 damage instead of 4, and since max health is 16, that's actually sometimes not relevant. But that's it's not the case with Maria. I think with Maria, she takes damage in clean increments. And yeah, I am just fucking bullying this Minotaur. This is an example of what I was talking about on my normal video. I said something about like how Richter, like sometimes the Minotaur kicks my ass and sometimes I bully it. That's an example of like bullying the Minotaur. And yeah, look how much damage I took from that attack. That's insane. Um, yeah. uh, Sorry, I completely lost my train of thought. Yeah, I was talking about most of the bosses are easier with Maria. I mean all the bosses. I mean the game in general is easier with Maria. That's sort of what I guess the reason that I'm like hesitant to kind of admit that is because I'm sort of a big proponent of the difficulty in these games being important. But I think the difficulty just needs to be enough to be rewarding, so that it doesn't feel like you're literally steamrolling everything like that. That's kind of what Legends feels like. That's the big reason why Legends is like one of the few Castlevania games that I'll say is not really very good, is because the game is either like toothless or it's completely obnoxious, where you either don't take damage from everything or you die because you took one damage a million times from vertically respawning enemies that you couldn't effectively react to. So that's why Legends sucks. Rondo Maria does not feel that way at all. Maria, it's like you're constantly doing things, you're constantly interacting with the enemies, with the environment in a way that's interesting. You're constantly being rewarded for good decision making, for evasiveness, for being proactive, for like dodging, for being aggressive. The fact that Maria's damage output is so high means that she also aggression with her is also super rewarded, even more so than with Richter, and especially because she takes more damage. You also might notice, or maybe not, because it took me a while to notice, that all of Maria's food items are different. Richter pretty much always eats the big the pot roast or the whatever, the meat in the wall. With Maria, it's like cake in the wall or ice cream in the wall, or I feel bad that I didn't show you guys, but before the Minotaur boss, there's a big meat hidden in the wall that will like restore all your health no matter how much, like it'll bring you up to full health no matter what. For Richter, it's just like a big meat. It's just like a regular wall meat, but it's way bigger. For Maria, it's like a huge birthday cake. And unfortunately, that's not in this footage, but I think it should be in one of the hybrid route videos that I do for Maria. Because I'm going to do the same thing for Maria that I did for Richter, which is show like the alternate paths through the different levels that I don't take in these first two main commentated videos. So if you really want to see the birthday cake, you'll be able to see it in the what would it be? I think the normal, one of the two hybrid videos. I can't remember which one it is, which one it would be at this point. There actually are some bosses that Maria has a trickier time with, and the Dullahan coming up here is one of them, because fighting the Dullahan effectively is sort of very reliant on the range of Richter's whip, and although Maria's birds, I think, probably do have a similar range to Richter's whip, it's tough for me to say for sure. And the bigger problem is that if Maria does get hit by the Dullahan, because it always does like massive damage, the consequences of that will be much worse for her. And I'm sure he fucking knocks her across the room if he hits her, so that's also not good. Yeah, the thing about the dragon is that the dragon does hit like a truck, and it's really good against boss fights, but the fact that it costs 5 hearts per usage means that you really have to think about your hearts. And it's kind of like the thing that you have instead of item crashes for Maria. Not that Maria doesn't have item crashes, she does, but it's like why you would use the dragon when the dragon's item crash is really not practical to utilize ever. Like there's pretty much no reason, there's almost no situation in the entire game where like spending 50 hearts on the dragon's item crash could be considered worth it. Because anything that you would kill with the item crash would just die from getting hit by the dragon in the first place, or would die pretty quickly fighting Maria in the first place. And spending 50 hearts to kill like a room full of things that Maria could just kill anyway doesn't really make sense. This part, okay, yeah, this part is actually kind of tricky because I don't know what it is. It's something about like having to approach that guy. Like if I just do, for some reason, if I just do on Maria what I do on Richter, which is just like run up to him and try to kill him super fast, sometimes it like doesn't work and he'll just knock me off. I don't know if it's because Maria has is more affected by knockback or what. But that thing that I ultimately did there, using the dragon to kill both the skeletons, sometimes the dragon like doesn't hit it properly, and I don't really know how to explain that. I made an error there actually because I think a food is about to, yeah. I lost the hamburger because I moved the grate out of the way before I was supposed to. What you should do there is destroy the blocks, get the meat, then move the grate, but I moved the grate prematurely so the food fell through and I don't have it now, and that's actually bad because the fact that I don't have item crashes, I don't have access to good item crashes on Maria right now means that I have to play the death fight coming up at the end of this level very differently, where I can't just like use an item crash or two to get through phase one and then a smooth sailing from there. I'm gonna have to actually interact more with the fight. Unfortunately, Maria is very, very well suited to the death fight, in that she can move around a lot more. She basically has the tools that a lot of death fights in Castlevania games are difficult because you generally don't have. Like, if you look at the Grim Reaper fight from Castlevania 1 actually is a good example, where it's just asking you for so much movement that's so difficult to execute in a game like Castlevania 1 because your movement is so limited. With a character like Maria who can like zoom around on the ground and who can double jump and who can like do all sorts of fancy shit, um, she actually has the tools to dodge the Grim Reaper's projectiles. So I guess that's another reason why playing as Maria feels like fun and not stupid, is because number one, she's just very fun to control, and she just has lots of different things she can do. And number two, you don't feel like you're given tools in excess of what is being thrown at you. You feel like you're being given like appropriate tools to utilize against the challenges that the game is throwing against you. And a lot of Castlevania games usually give you like unfair challenges in a certain sense, where they'll like ask you to do things and then give you this very limited range of motion. With Maria, you have the range of motion that the Castlevania games usually assume that you don't. And so here on this death fight, something that the fact that she can double jump but she can like air control around means dodging these scythes is actually like possible. Which on Richter it's kind of, I mean, of course it is possible, but it's also very very risky, and sometimes scythes can come out of nowhere. And yeah, see how much damage I just took? That's the other thing about Maria that balances her out, is that I can dodge these scythes, but if I don't dodge these scythes, look, I'm two hits away from death already, just from taking those two scythe hits, barely getting hit by them. And now I have to be really careful because if Maria gets hit by Death's Scythe in Phase 2, she will die. And it's not because it'll do so much damage to kill her, it's because she gets knocked back so far that she will roll all the way across the mast of this ship, or whatever part of the ship this is. I'm not a sailor. And will roll off the edge into the water and die. And yes, she will literally get launched the entire length of that arena. So that's another thing that you want to save dragon ammo for, is you don't even... I took a risk even like getting close enough to him to shoot a couple birds at him. I really should have just hung back and shot a couple dragons and just let him die. And instead I took a risk and got close when I didn't need to. So there are still elements of the game that are challenging and that are specifically challenging with Maria. Oh, and this is a new save file, so we get to watch this cutscene again, where Dracula tries to convince this lady not to kill herself, and then she maybe is on the verge of listening to him, but then Shaft shows up to tell Dracula that there's some stuff going on that he needs to draw his attention to. I don't know if the dialogue is any different in this cutscene for Maria or Richter. I don't know if like in the normal cutscene, Shaft says, "Master, another Belmont is like fucking up all your guys," and then in this cutscene, if he says, "Master, a cute little girl is with and her animal friends are fucking up all your guys." I don't know. It doesn't sound any different to me, but of course I don't understand Japanese. If I did, I'd be able to tell you what the hell's going on in this scene. Dracula, buddy, that is too close. That is inappropriate. Weren't there any sexual harassment seminars in Transylvania? Well, there actually were sexual harassment seminars back then, but instead they taught you how to do it, not why not to do it. Jeez, things were rough back then, huh? So going into this boss rush in level 6, Maria is... It's another situation where... I mean, I just gonna be honest, Maria demolishes the boss rush in level 6, which I'll talk more about when you see it. I like this little dramatic cutaway here. Shaft is an odd little character. I don't really know anything about the background storyline of this game except that it takes place in 1791, and that Dracula has a preposterously large collar that is now like gone so large that it's exceeded the bounds of his neck and it's like flapping off of him like wings. Maybe it's supposed to be reminiscent of wings. Annette's outfit is very colorful, like yellow and green. You think of 18th century peasants as wearing all gray, but that's because everything was still in black and white back then. Color wasn't really invented until the 1940s. So here we are in the boss rush. Usually on Richter, I'd go all the way off to the right and pick up the Bible out of the wall, but on Maria, that's not necessary because the dragon is already the best sub-weapon that I could ask for. Maria actually does have a Bible equivalent called the Music Box, but I think as like a joke or something, the Music Box is like terrible. It doesn't seem to really do anything. It seems to do moderate damage in a very limited range, so it's kind of the exact opposite of the Bible, which does lots of damage in a very, very generous range. So here we are in the boss rush. There's several things actually about Maria's abilities, there's many things about Maria that make the boss rush easy. In this one, obviously, it's the fact that she can double jump and like roll around means that she can like get out of the way of this bat whenever she wants, but which doesn't seem to stop me from getting hit by it. Probably because I'm still unused to like the strategy exactly that I employ here, where I have more freedom of movement. Usually, when I fight the bat on Richter, I just stand up on one of those ledges and just react directly. And on the Medusa, Maria just fucking annihilates the Medusa because she is actually too short to get hit by the petrification beam. So I don't have to react to the Medusa like at all. I could just fucking run forward and just smash, just like pummel it in the corner until it dies. So what's arguably the most dangerous part of the boss rush before Shaft is now no more, and a similar kind of thing happens with the Mummy, where Maria does have to jump over these blocks, and the fact that she can double jump doesn't actually make it any easier for her to get over them. She still has to do one jump per block, but then she can walk right underneath the Mummy's like extendo bandage attack and then walk right up to him and attack him. And she can also like roll to get through all the wrappings before if she needs to. And on Frankenstein, she's just doing a fucking million damage because he stands there getting hit. Although, of course, I do too get hit. And I think I did eventually figure out a way to like kill him so fast that he doesn't get a chance to shoot off a lightning attack, but I'm not really... I don't really remember if I execute that correctly. In any of the footage that I got, or if it's just something that I figured out was possible. But the big difference maker here is what Maria does to Shaft, which is just trample all over him. Because Shaft's pattern, as you're seeing, is he'll teleport away if you deal damage to him, and then if you keep dealing damage to him, he'll keep teleporting away. But the fact that Maria can roll means that she can like catch right back up to him again after he teleports, and just keep up the damage relentlessly unless something like that happens. And that is the one thing about this fight, is this like it's still problematic to try to do with that lightning attack. I still never really figured it out. But I make it through. And I am very close to dying. So Maria's downside did come into effect there, and rolling and double jumping don't help you against the lightning attack. The lightning attack is very much a case of having to appraise very quickly whether two fast-moving objects are moving too close to each other or moving further away from each other or what. Oh, and here we have my favorite application of Maria's movement capabilities, where Maria never dies on the bridge because she just doesn't do the bridge. She just does cartwheels across the entire bridge and skips the entire thing, and this is so satisfying. There's so many parts of Castlevania games with like collapsing platforms and like bats coming at you that I wish I could just Sonic roll over and completely skip, and Maria just lets you do that. So I guess that's another thing about it that's fun, is that she's sort of like, kind of like how tonally she's incongruous with the rest of the incongruent with the rest of the game, because she has like goofy animal companions, and you'll see more of the tonal inconsistency with her. Well, not inconsistency, because it's intentional. The tonal shift that she embodies later on, and in other footage, but much like how she sort of is different than the baseline aesthetic of a Castlevania game, the fact that she also plays so differently is thematically consistent with that. Which is another excuse I'm going to give for how much fucking fun it is to play as her. I think it's easier for her to hit these harpies than it was for Richter because of the way the birds come out. Yeah. That's not surprising. Yeah, Maria just kind of like creates this vortex of damage in front of her with the birds. Although I did still get hit. I did still lose a good chunk there. I would love to know, like, I don't know if there's like an explanation for like where Maria came from in the minds of the developers, or like why she's here. She doesn't have a key opening animation either, by the way. She just throws a bird at the lock, and the bird presumably knocks the lock right off the hinges. So I don't know why I needed a key for that. Ore-chan. Okay, so I guess Annette must be her older sister. Although they don't have or figured, or they must know each other somehow. Or something, I don't know. I also don't know what exactly is being said here, but I'm guessing it's similar to the Richter conversation where Annette is saying, don't go fight Dracula, and then Maria is saying, I can go fight Dracula. Although it does seem a little bit more substantive than that. Annette actually seems happier to talk to Maria than she does to talk to Richter. I think Maria is saying, I'm tough, I can do this. I'm gonna go kick Dracula's ass. And it's true, she is tough. She's been fucking demolishing this entire castle. Dracula's minions are honestly no match for Maria. It's kind of not even close. Annette just doesn't understand her sister's power. I also don't know what the explanation is for this gal. I don't know if there's like a reason why this character has magical animal friends that demolish everything. I don't know. I don't know if she's supposed to be like. I mean, she must be a fucking sorceress of some kind. I think that's why Shaft had her in like a magic beam in level 2. Maybe he was trying to like. I don't know. I don't know what he was trying to do. There's a lot that I don't know about these games, but I don't question. Look at this fucking asshole. Come on, man. Just get in my fucking attack range already. See, if I had a dragon, this fucker would be dead. Instead, I have to fuck around. See, that's what I'm talking about. See, that's what I should be doing. I should be using my fucking cartwheels to close the distance with him. And restore the distance whenever I fucking want. There you go, just like that. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, I don't really know much about... I don't really know anything about these games like storylines. Especially the case of this game because I can't speak Japanese. Or I can't really understand Japanese. Oh, and this part with the pendulums, maybe I'll do that if I feel like it, or maybe I'll just fucking ignore them and I'll just fucking jump across. God, this is so satisfying. This is so cool. I love this. Is it, you know, yeah, it's kind of too easy, but whatever. I don't care. There's the turtle. I don't think I'll ever actually be using the turtle in any of the footage that I think I used the turtle at one point in the hybrid route, but I don't in like the normal alternate route, one where I go normal 2 into alternate 3, the path from normal 2 to alternate 3, I think I use the turtle, but excuse me, generally I don't. I guess I'll say what it does. It basically makes you invincible. It creates like a little shield around you. Maria like ducks under a turtle shell and like walks around really slowly, and I think it either consumes hearts to activate it or it consumes hearts like while it's active. I don't really recall. Yeah, she fucking shreds Shaft in both of his fights because she can catch up to him super fast, and because the dragon means that when he's like hovering in the air like this, she can just launch fucking hellfire missiles at him. And when the beast shows up, she can just fucking double jump over it. I don't even have to worry about backflipping like I have to do with Richter. Fucking destroyed. There's her revenge. Revenge for whatever the hell he was trying to do to her in level 2. I'm sure it was untoward. I'm sure it was uncalled for. I don't know why I shot the dragon there. Maybe I didn't mean to. It's possible I didn't mean to. Because I really shouldn't be wasting 5 hearts right before the Dracula fight. Not that it matters. You want to talk about like Dracula and Rondo of Blood being too easy? Dracula... Using Maria against Dracula is even worse. I like the way she goes up the stairs. It's cute. Or she like walks really fast. I think I kind of do, or it would be nice to use the dragon item crash on the second form of Dracula, but I don't think I do that in this footage. I think I probably just figure it makes more sense to just shoot the dragon at him when he becomes a giant monster demon. And I could probably be shooting dragons at him here too, but I'm just more used to the timing of shooting birds and then ducking under his fireballs. I don't even have to jump over them on Maria. Maria can just literally fucking duck under them. So that's how it's crazy how the fact that she's like shorter than Richter has so many important strategic applications lets her dodge so many attacks. Maybe the fact that she beats Dracula so easily is sort of supposed to add to the irony of the situation. Like Dracula gets not only does Dracula get defeated by like a funny little girl and her animal friends, but he gets fucking destroyed, like demolished by her animal friends. Yeah, I think I just start shooting dragons at him instead of using an item crash. That's probably. I actually don't really know which one would be faster or would be more like economical in terms of hearts, but it doesn't matter because he's fucking dead, killed by the doves of peace. There's something very thematically appealing about that. I think Dracula being defeated by nature and whimsy and by like a white dove of peace. while some little girl spazzes out and cartwheels around on the floor of his throne room. I think it's charming. Oh, and this next part, when I talked about Maria being like a, I don't know if I said comedy character, but she is kind of a comedy character, and her presence in this game is very goofy. And here's sort of the big indicator of that that's obvious even to me as a non-Japanese speaker. Meow. What's funny about this, I thought this was the case, but I had to look the dialogue up in this scene after I saw it the first time, just to make sure, because I had to know what was being said. And what's funny about this scene is that Dracula's dialogue is not any different in this scene than in the scene where he's talking to Richter, but Maria's is. I think she just basically says, "You're mean. That's why you lost, because you were mean to everyone, because you're a bad person." But he's still giving his like flowery human desires, I shall return dialogue, and I think it's supposed to be an intentionally humorous juxtaposition. Although the timing does get fucked up somewhat in that like he stands here in total silence for a little bit. That's kind of like awkward, and then I think he disappears before he finishes talking or something. Or like he's like still talking after he's not there anymore. And then he laughs and Maria says, "What's so funny?" That's what she's saying there. I did look that up. I didn't look up any of the other dialogue, but I watched this part so many times that I just had to know what was going on. Yeah, I would like Rondo playing Rondo of Blood as Maria is like the most fun I've had in any Castlevania game. It doesn't have the same like satisfaction of overcoming brutal difficulty the way that some other games do, but it's just so much fun to play as Maria. It's so much fun to double jump around and like do a million damage and like roll around everywhere. And oh yeah, and now we get an extended ending with Maria, or she and her animal friends escape the fucking tower. The fucking tower, escape the castle, and they make silly faces. This is so wonderful. I love this. I think it's incredible that this is in the game. I like the dragon. The dragon's goofy looking. And then, after they escape the collapse, then the tower collapses. Make note of that. The tower does not collapse when Richter defeats Dracula. The tower collapses when Maria defeats Dracula. And she walks home to this montage of her companions in combat while this incredible music plays over this silly end credit sequence over a sunny field. And I'll say, think I just said it, but I'll say it again. It's amazing to me that this exists and that this is in this game, but it's amazing in a good way. I really would not have it. I really would not have it any other way. These Konami guys are funny. They have a sense of humor. These Konami dudes. For Castlevania 1, like one of the fucking most important games they've ever made, they like put joke credits at the end. And some people will say that Maria is a joke character, or like I think somebody once called her a shitpost. I think that is completely uncalled for. If anything, Maria is the real protagonist of the game, because she has an extended ending. Her ending is longer, there's more like stuff in the cutscene, and the castle actually collapses when she defeats Dracula, so that means to me that she's the real hero or heroine of the story. All Richter did was rescue a bunch of ladies in a chariot, but But Maria actually brought the entire fucking castle down, so good for her. Um, like I said, playing as Maria was like some was it like cemented. This is my favorite game of the series. Like her whole presence here is just amazing to me. It's absolutely wonderful. Pop the top Wada. I don't know what that means. These are probably fucking joke credits too. Like none of this makes any sense to me. But then again, I don't know Japanese. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this footage. Hope it was fun to watch. Hope it was fun to hear me talk about it. I'll be posting one more Rondo Blood video, and then that's going to be it. Love you all. See you guys in the future at some point. Farewell.